Hello everybody, my name is Tyler Prime and welcome to Review Wednesdays. We are going to be talking about, well, if you couldn't tell from the things in front of me right now, the Tom and Jerry movie. I'm sure that a bunch of you are fans of Tom and Jerry, speaking of which, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you fans are going to be upset with this movie due to how it is and how it, you know, is less of a Tom and Jerry movie and more like a human type movie. We'll be getting to that in a second. If you guys don't know what Tom and Jerry is, well, it's about a cat and a mouse who chase each other, beating the living hell out of one another. Uh, One tries to eat the other one and fails miserably. So, without further ado, the movie, we start off with Tom doing his little thing as per usual, trying to do a normal thing just so he can go and get it big in the city of the Big Apple, and of course Jerry has to ruin it. He comes in, ruins the whole thing for him, and they start chasing each other and doing their usual shenanigans. The movie, of course, couldn't exactly go on without having human characters, and comes Chloe. I can't pronounce her name, but her first name is Chloe, the actress's name, and comes Chloe, who comes in as the main actress, who lies about her resume by stealing another woman's resume to be part of a hotel. Sooner or later, the cat, the mouse, everyone aligns together in this hotel as Chloe, the manager, and the CEO. I'm pretty sure that's who he was. All come in and say, "Hey, we need this cat. Well, we don't need it. We need to get rid of this mouse. How do we get rid of him?" And comes Tom, who's been trying to get inside the damn place for the whole half hour of the movie. Well, was it half hour? I'm not sure, but he's been trying to get in. They had this cool action shot with Tom having fake wings and armor going up into the moon, doing that whole Batman reference, which I love. The whole connection with these two, where they just continue going at each other's throats, made me love the movie because it's just exactly like Tom and Jerry would be in the old cartoons and shorts. So when I'm watching the movie, I don't care about the humans. Move out the way. We want to see Tom and Jerry. And we get that every so often, but it's not like where they just make the movie and take that aspect out of the film. They do add a lot of scenes with them in it, so it's still essentially Tom and Jerry, but not really. And of course, Chloe eventually hires Tom to come take out the mouse. Once again, failing miserably. The traps this cat tries to use to get rid of him, and the fact that Jerry just keeps coming back, just makes you laugh at the whole, dynamic duos, idiots, how idiotic they can be. Tom will never learn, which is why I always love Tom and Jerry, because you never learn. You side with Tom sometimes because you just want him to catch Jerry. Jerry can be annoying throughout this movie as well, as if he isn't already annoying throughout the cartoon series in itself. But when they get to a scene where they have to leave the hotel, where they have to leave the hotel and try not to mess up this wedding, which is a side plot on its own. We also had another side plot where Jerry had stolen a ring, who he was using it as a chandelier. Don't worry about that. That literally doesn't matter. We also have returning characters such as Spike the dog. We have, I'm not sure what the cat's name was, but she was from the old cartoons as well. And we also had the old street alley cats. The black one, the short one. Let me rephrase that. The black furred one and the short cat. That's the one, the one in the group that just jumps up and down trying to get people's attention. That's the one. So You even have Droopy come in for 2 cameos. There's one cameo that I really love where at the beginning where Tom is walking out the subway and behind him is Droopy, but he's Joker. And I think it just said there, I'm happy or I'm unhappy at the side of it. And then you see him later on as he's dressed as Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs. I to this day I still wonder what it is about Droopy that people love about him. I haven't seen him in a full on show. I've seen him in so many Jerry and Tom cartoons that I just don't understand it. Maybe there is a show on it. I'll look it up after this video. So yeah, they leave. They get caught because I think Tom decided it was a good idea to catch the baseball. They get caught, thrown into jail. He pretends to eat Tom, only for later on to get bailed out. And then this is where the whole thing gets weirder and weirder. The manager, where he says he's in the middle of the whole place. He worked himself to get to the middle of the hotel. He is making Tom and Jerry go against each other once again, despite the fact we've only just had a couple of minutes of screen time where they were nice to each other, so that was kind of pointless a little bit, but doesn't matter. Anyways, he makes them angry with each other, lying and saying that Tom said this and Jerry said that. You look like this. He said you smell like that. And then they find each other at the hotel and then they just destroy the wedding. There's 2 scenes in this film where they do that weird thing where the animals are fighting with each other and makes this giant cloud. What I loved about that is that you finally get to see what's inside the cloud. I've always wondered how they looked inside. So, as a kid, and as soon as the middle manager just comes flying into the cloud, it just all chaos. The first time they destroyed the priceless roof window that has been in there for several decades. Which, why would you have a roof made out of windows? I never understood that about houses. Why would you have windows that are on a roof? What's that gonna do? You're gonna sit down and do this? Oh yeah, I sure love that bird in the sky. Anyways, obviously he was lying. He kicks Tom out. Jerry has been kicked out as well. They're homeless, and the wedding's been called off because the idiot known as Ben in this movie, Ben, of course, he wanted to make it the perfect wedding, but unfortunately he was an idiot throughout the whole movie. You don't really care about Ben or his fiancée in this movie. They're not really characters that you want to care about, so you just shut off from them. But he wanted to make this big, awesome wedding to show how much he loves her, but in reality, he was doing it because of how he wanted the wedding to go. By making, let's have 2 giant elephants, a couple of peacocks that were in mating season, a tiger, and even a drone. Which, by the way, there's a whole scene where the drone just goes flying up and down, pretty sure slicing people's head off. We don't know, you never see it. So, at the end, we get into the end now. They need to fix the wedding, need to fix everything about this whole problem and try and get these 2 back together. Tom and Jerry team up once again, go on a skateboard with a drone, like take out the cat. The drone takes out the cat with using Jerry as bait. The car has to like follow them now, and they get to there, and the fiance comes out, walks over, follows them, walks over there to the park, and the soon-to-be husband says he's sorry, blah, 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 blah. They kiss, get back together, and they have the whole marriage thing. By the way, there's one character I like, and it's the hotel's, what is it called? The uh, what's that guy called? Um, what's he called? The doorman. The doorman outside the hotel. I like him because at the very beginning he's like going back to get more free food, huh? And he just lets her. He just lets her go in there. And there's so many scenes with him where he's just like disappointed, and the fact that he was like taking Tom and just throwing him out, and it's like I like him. I like that character. But was another character you don't see that often. We also had this other character where I you're the bartender where you're supposed to think that he and Chloe's character are supposed to be a thing, but at the same time they're not supposed to be a thing. Again, the humans you don't care about. You come to see a Tom and Jerry movie, not see Tom and Jerry and humans. So yeah, Jerry like messes Tom up when he's trying to flirt with the female cat again. They chase each other. Spike comes out after him, and J- Tom does that thing where he just like pulls the end red curtain and thing, and then they just chase each other back and forth and just keep hurting each other. And I think there was another scene in this movie, but I'm not sure. There was a scene where the middle manager is walking Spike out, and he has to take a poop on the ground. You know, it's a kids movie. You shouldn't be too mad at that. You did need to have one poop joke. It's a kids movie, which is why I never understood adults who just bash movies like this, because it's obviously made for kids. So why are you complaining? Is it because you want to have a nostalgia trip? Would you like to go back to the 80s? Because you can't. You can't, I can tell you that much. The movie is the closest thing you have to enjoying the 80s again. Somewhat. Because it's modern. Another thing I liked about this movie was that each and every single animal was like animated with a 2D and 3D CGI mixed into one. So every single animal you see, pigeons, fishes, alligators, rats, fl- flamingos, all of them were just all completely animated. And I love that, and I appreciate the hard work that the people behind this movie did to do that for the movie. I hope they get a raise for that one. So yeah, this was a somewhat good movie in my opinion. I liked it. I love Tom and Jerry, so I love the movie. Plus it's a kids film that you can just put on in the background, let your kids just get distracted and while you do paperwork or something if you're an adult, or if you're a YouTuber and you just, you just want to edit stuff and you just don't want to do it in silence, you just put the movie on and just continue doing what you want to do. The movie gets a 7 out of a 10 for me, mainly because this human stuff, they focus too much on the humans, and they the songs in this movie were also good, but some of them weren't needed because there was a scene there where they had Tom talking, but there was one scene where because he was just singing while doing the piano thing, which is another good thing about this movie that I liked, was that they didn't talk. Thankfully, they did not make him talk or Jerry. The only ones that would talk were Spike and a couple of other characters like the Street Alley Cats and Droopy and any other cats, birds, animals. Tom and Jerry did not speak, which I was relieved. Again, it's only a 7 because there are some things I don't like. It's the humans, was the poop joke that was just unnecessary. Um, there was like the window thing that didn't make any sense. And the middle manager was a D-bag. Of course, you had a bunch of other jokes in this movie that just didn't land. Also, Tom flosses in this movie, which made me take it to a 7 because I did not need to see Tom do the Fortnite floss stance. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this review. My name has been Tyler Prime. Do I recommend you go see this one? Sure. Sure. If you wanna have a somewhat good time, but not much of a good time, I would recommend it. But if you're not into cartoons in itself, I would not recommend it because, yeah, it's not something you would want to watch. I'm looking at you, Haley. I don't know if you're all watching this video, but I'm looking at you. You watch anime, which is animated, but yet you don't even want to watch Scooby Doo. Okay, I'm not gonna get into that. This has been Tyler Prime. Hopefully you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Wham, bam, sham.